Hello everyone, how are you doing? So today I'm back with AlphaGo Zero game review. After my first review video, I had some time to look at other games and I found this game that I really like. So I've been meaning to review this game for my video and I'm finally doing it today. I hope you enjoy it. So let's take a look. AlphaGo Zero is black and white is AlphaGo Lee, which means this is the version of AlphaGo that played against Isidore. I am quite fond of this version, although this is not the strongest, because this is the one that really amazed the world. We really didn't expect it to defeat the human champion, but it did. But then it was also not perfect that Isadora was able to beat at least once, and I think that kind of makes me like it even more. It's a little bit like a human, right? It's not 100% perfect like machine. But anyway, let's look at this game. AlphaGo Zero is black and AlphaGo Lee is white. So there are several reasons why I liked this game so much, and then we will be discussing it as we see the game. The first reason was that black chose this diagonal opening, and it is not unusual, but then you rarely see this opening in important professional games, because we had this belief that this opening is not really good for black, because as white is taking this corner, black and white is kind of limiting each other's potential, and as a black you really want to take the initiative to develop your moyo in order to compensate for komi, right? So that's why more pros were concentrated in developing a side something like this instead of going here. But AlphaGo Zero chose this one, so I thought that was very interesting. And another interesting thing is that everyone is playing star point. And that's another interesting point, because some pros believe playing only star points make the game a little bit boring, because 4-3 points have more variations. But as Michael and Chris discussed in the opening analysis video of the AlphaGo, you can find that video in the official AGA YouTube channel. AlphaGo seems to have preference towards star point, and they mentioned that especially when AlphaGo is white. And when I heard that, I was kind of proud, because when I was active professional player, I would usually go for star point when I'm white. I liked it as a default because it felt, more comfortable when I was white. So anyway, all star points, and then black comes here, and then another approach. So far it's a little bit like a mirroring, and then black comes around here and white comes here. Still, it's kind of interesting. And then this is the second move that I love about this game. Black plays here, and then I'm like, oh my gosh. If you're a strong player, you would probably know what I mean. If you play this move before AlphaGo played, before AlphaGo time, you would get definitely scolded by your teacher, and then teacher will say, what are you thinking? You must be out of your mind. Because as black has to respond here, white is expanding, and not only this is an ideal space for white, this is kind of attacking this stone. So this is really good for white. I still can't believe that this is a good choice for black. But this is AlphaGo Zero, and black actually won this game. So what can I say? This is kind of revolutionizing the Go strategy, I think. And then black continues with the famous attach. AlphaGo seems to always attach here as a follow-up from this approach. And then white exchanges here. And I thought it was also interesting that white didn't play here right away, because oftentimes this is sente. This black group is not quite safe yet, so black would usually either play here or push. And then white could tenuki in either case. But interestingly, white didn't play here, but came this way, and then black continued with this cut. This is big in terms of point, and also it's nice because now black's group is very secure. And then here to white's invasion, black's haneing and then playing over here is not unusual, like professional players would also play. But you can also see that white is getting like really strong shape in here. So I would say this is kind of understandable. And then white comes here and black attaches and white wedges. And then I saw this continuation, and then I was kind of happy to see this Juseki here, because it's one of the oldest Juseki you would see. Like if you study like Juseki books published in like 1990s, 1980s, you would see this shape. And then, you know, not many of the Josekis show up in AlphaGo games. And this is one of them. So, you know, it means we've been doing something right. So I was happy. Although sometimes white would play here instead of pushing like the actual game. And then black would play here and white would hane. And sometimes black would like push here and then connect, and then white can choose either one. These three stones might look big, but then in the very opening this is not as big as it looks, and then white gets sente. So this is like one continuation that you could see in the old professional games. Sometimes black doesn't even bother to exchange this because we thought that this might strengthen white's shape. So black would tenuki, and then white can atari here later. In the actual game, white pushed here simply and then came like this. And black extended. And then over here, this attach and cut like the actual game. This is also a common method for white to kind of make use of these three captured stones. And these are not new. Like pro players have been using this Tetsuji for a long time. So I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. So that was cool. And then I love this black's next move. I am sorry that there is a spoiler a little bit because you can already see this move. But you know, without knowing where black played in the actual game, I think I would have been like really lost. I know that we need to start somewhere because this white's territory is getting too big. And like starting from something like this would be a safe choice. But if white hanes here and then like extends, not jump, don't jump. And then like push here, this one still has this cutting point here, and then this white's territory is getting like really too big. So it was necessary for black to kind of get in, but then what you don't want is to become like too baseless. For example, you come over here because you're afraid to go deeper, and then white just simply responds, and then you don't really have any like root base with these stones. That means in the future you will need to spend like a few more moves to get like some space for these moves for this group, while white is taking some other like big moves. And this is a scenario that black really doesn't want. And the reason why I really like this one is that this one is kind of looking at this peeping over here, and then maybe coming over here, and white can't really surround this move because if white tries, this white group is like not really secure yet. There's this cutting point. So all white could do was to come over here, and then black could like play the knight move, and even if white cuts here, black would just simply give this one up, and then this black group has like a better shape, right? And then this white group is certainly like not a war, but more like a baseless group. So white can't really do that. In the actual game, white exchanged this hane and then tried to attack. But then this next move was beautiful. It's like really good shape. And after this move, if black comes over here, it's almost a live shape. So that's why white came here, although it looks small. But then black's jump is sent there, and then when black comes out, there is this a little bit of I shape, and then white kind of has to split this black, and then black pushes. So it's like white is struggling with attacking this black group. In the meantime, black has erased all this white's potential. So this was like really good reduction strategy. And then white's extending here is a little bit like giving up on attacking this group, but instead white is now looking at this potential over here. And because this black group is not 100% alive yet, black cannot go like too deep over here right away. And then I was like, wow, this attach move is so good. And what does this attachment mean? You know, it looks like you're just giving away this one stone, but actually this is because black can cut here, and then white will need to kind of capture this one stone, and black gets to Atari, and all this exchange is actually to hane here. So why do you need all this to hane? That's because white's next response is kind of obvious. It will be the tiger mouth, and then black really wants to extend here. Coming back like this one would look too slow and then not very efficient. So black really wants to extend, but black's a little bit concerned about the cut here. But with this black stone over here on N6, black can capture this one stone with the net. So this is beautiful, right? And white cannot cut. Let's say white responds like here. Then black can still exchange this one and then exchange that and then do the same, because still this is net like this. So all black needs is this jump, but if black simply jumps without this attach, there is no influence toward the white. White can just ignore this jump, right? But ignoring this attachment is a little bit harder because black's next move is more severe. So it's like white can't really respond, but white can't tenuki either. So I thought this attachment move was like so beautiful. And then because white, you know, didn't know what to do maybe, so white tenuki'd here and then just connected this whole white group toward this group. It's good for the point, and it's kind of reducing black's eye shape and strengthening both groups at the same time. And then black just went ahead and then hane and then extended. So there is no black stone around here yet. And that's how white could cut here. But black had a plan for this cut, which was this one. And if white responds to this one, then black can capture by this net. Of course, white can't give up this one stone that simply, so white extends and black gets to block. Now there is this cut over here, and then this black group is connected to this corner. And as a return, white got sente and white got to cut these two stones. So white is not too unhappy at this point, I think. And also this shoulder hit move is so good, mostly because black can't really hane here. Usually black could hane and then like white can't really block this area. But then because of the corner shape, white can cut here. And then if black plays here, white can Atari and then capture the corner. And that's why black cannot really hane. Black will have to come back and then white can connect. So with this shoulder hit, this area is kind of surrounded, although black can kind of push. But pushing from behind is usually not a good option. So I would say the game is still like very interesting at this point. Black exchanges this one, which is sente. If white doesn't respond, black would block here and then white cannot save this big group. So that was sente move. And then black comes shoulder hit. You might say, oh, that's an AlphaGo move. Of course, AlphaGo would shoulder hit. But I would say actually this is kind of the only move. I would say like 95% of pros would think about this move as the first move even before knowing AlphaGo. So this is not as amazing. But anyway, it's still a good move. And then black comes here and AlphaGo again shoulder hit, kind of counter shoulder hit. But again, this is also kind of not difficult to predict move, because it will be very difficult to try to capture the whole two stones. So basically white is trying to capture this central area while driving these two stones to this side, so that white would have as much territory as possible. So white comes here and then black pushes and then white attaches. And here I think most people would first think about how to respond to this move, because usually like tenuking this kind of attach is unthinkable. But I must say that AlphaGo Zero was so confident that once black is safe with this group, black would be ahead. And that kind of judgment is difficult and you really need to be confident with your reading. But black played here, which looks kind of small, but then it must mean that if white comes around here or that one, black would like continue with somewhere around here, reduce this center area, and maybe go back to here to reduce white's corner, and that would be good enough for black. So white followed this black's move, and then black just kind of made a good eye shape for this black group. And then since white black is getting stronger, white also responded, because white doesn't want to lose this center potential. And then after all this exchange, black now turned to the corner and then reduced the white's corner area. Of course, all these exchanges made this black group quite stronger, and it's very difficult for white to attack this group. And also because this white group is not 100% safe yet. So white came over here, and then this is good exchange, and black Ataris. With this Atari, this black group is quite alive. And then white jumps, and with this jump, white kind of completed this area over here. And then black exchanges that, makes some pipping, and all this exchange. And then this hane is sente, because later if black gets the chance, black can cut here. White will need to extend, because if white Ataris, for example, then black would come out. And then black can Atari this way, and white cannot connect because black would cut here. So this would be quite a damage for white. So this hane was kind of sente for black. and white made some other sente moves around and came back. This is a like efficient way of preventing this cut because now white has one more liberty over here, and capturing this one stone is very big. And then white needed to block here because without that block, black can very simply do something like this and then attack this group, and white's potential is pretty much erased. So white blocks here and then black makes exchange, and this one was the very last big endgame move. Plus this one was kind of sente for black. If white doesn't respond, then black has the attaching over here, which is another endgame. So white responds here, and black's capturing these 4 stones is pretty big. And then now this is like really endgame stage. And after that, white connects. There was no surprise in the endgame. There were some sente exchanges. And then like that. So at this connection, I would say the game is like pretty much settled, and then the game continued for several more moves. There was some like small core happening, but then eventually white resigned because white didn't have enough core threats. But the core happened because black knew that black had more core threats, and that's why black didn't respond. So I did like very careful counting at this stage, and it seems like black is ahead for about 7 points before Komi. So that would be 1.5 points ahead after, considering 7.5 points Komi. And because there are only like small endgames left, 1.5 points gap would be like impossible to catch up. So overall, I thought some of the blacks moves were like so brilliant, like invasion over here and this attaching move and tenuking this attach and some of the opening moves. So this was the game that I really enjoyed. Oh, and I forgot to mention this attach over here. That was the most shocking move to me. So anyway, that was the game I really wanted to share with you. And I might share like 1 or more games as I study more games of AlphaGo. And also I'll be playing more games on like PandaNet or TaiGem. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching my video, and please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my videos. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.